My, what a delightful specimen I found this evening. Alone, drunk, totally unaware, and at the dead of night, no less. It's like you're practically inviting me to feast upon you, my dear. I don't think I ever seen a more enticing meal. Turn around for me. I like to see the face of my meals before I. Oh, it's you. Don't look so afraid, my darling. I know you cannot see me here in the shadows, but I'll step out of them if that will make things easier. If that will help calm you down. There. Do you see me now? I apologize for startling you like that. It might have been my intention, but that was when I thought you were someone else, which should be impossible. How did? Why? If I hadn't been careful, if I hadn't decided to play with my food and instead crept up on you and bitten, you'd be. Your blood smells different. There's a particular reek about it, rather than the usual fragrance it emits. It's the alcohol. That must be it. You've been drinking, and that decision very nearly sealed your fate, my beloved. Oh, can you ever forgive me for such a thing? Can you forgive my mistake? Oh, what am I talking about? You don't even know me. Look at me, embarrassing myself, almost confessing in front of someone who's never even seen my face before. Apologizing before a woman completely ignorant to what I am and she means to me. Again, I apologize, beloved. That was not how I envisioned our first meeting. First official meeting, at least. In truth, I have met you numerous times in the months since I first came to this small village. Getting closer to you than I am now, in fact. But you were none the wiser, because I did not wish for you to know. I did not wish for you to know of my existence, at least not then, and certainly not now. Seeing me like this, my eyes blood red in the black of night, my fangs protruding from my mouth ready to bite. I must apologize, my beloved, and I'll do so 100 times if at that will make it right. 1,000 if that is what you desire, or an infinitude if that is what it takes. For nothing is enough to make up for the foolish mistake I made this evening. Can you ever forgive me, my darling? Yes, I suppose first I must explain who I am before you can decide that. Very well, very well. If that is what it takes to earn your favor and make up for what I have done, then I suppose I mustn't I? My name is Chiara, and I'm not of these lands. I come far from here, from a place where the sun never shines and the grass is always a jubilant green. It was a wonderful home, the place of my birth. But I could not stay there. For once I became what I am, I couldn't stand to see anything that reminded of who I once was. You see, when I became what I am now, when I became Vampira, I found I did not cast reflections. Very much a boon, for it meant I could pretend I'm not who I once was, pretend I'm the monster that I now am, and never claimed humanity, even though I very much did. I wasn't always this way, you see. Wasn't always. I'm sorry. I'm not explaining this right. Do you know what a vampire is, my sweet innocent darling? Or do the tales of those bloodthirsty monsters have yet to reach these shores? Blissful innocence, then. You do not comprehend the danger you are in. I am a creature of the night, beloved. Alive. Well, perhaps not alive in the classical sense, but alive in some fashion. Death has not found me yet. I've been this way for centuries. So long that I have stopped keeping track. To the uninitiated, it may seem a beautiful gift. After all, who will not wish to be able to see the future, to witness the wonders it holds? But having been given this gift, I can very much say it is not worth the price I must pay. The power I wield demands blood, my darling. The blood of the innocent. Of the innocence of my fellow man. For if I do not do this, I know I will almost certainly die. I have tried to avoid it, to starve myself for as long as possible, to keep my fangs from meeting flesh. But I cannot help myself, beloved. The urge, this dark urge that fills my body must feed. You see, it must be fed and there is nothing I can do about it. Were there any way I could stop it, I would. I've tried a substitute of animal blood and it simply was not an option. I have attempted to starve myself, as I said, chained myself to the brink of death. But then my body takes over. The predator inside of me will not allow itself to die. And I wake up covered in the blood of yet another innocent victim. Cursed to continue to live until I must feed again. It is an awful life. This immortality that was forced upon me is no gift my beloved, but a curse. A horrible existence given to me for nothing more than being at the wrong place at the wrong time. But those details matter not, at least not this discussion, because this discussion is about you, my darling, and what you mean to me. Many days have I traveled across this world, feeding upon its denizens, sustaining myself. But it was not until I came upon this small little village that one of these world's denizens made me hesitate. I remember the kindness and love I once felt in every part of my body. I will see you in the distance, walking around town, always smiling, always sharing your kindness with the people around you. There is not a soul in this village you haven't helped in some way or another, whether that be by lending a helping hand or simply smiling at them during a difficult moment. I remember when I once strove to be like you are. It was that kindness that charmed me the way I am now. I remember thinking so negatively about who I was. But seeing you, I remembered how beautiful I felt back then. And it made me strive to be that way again. It made me love you, darling, as I once loved myself. And because of that, I could never hurt you, nor let you be harmed. Your soul is the most beautiful thing I've encountered in all my years of life, and it is something I will protect, no matter the cost. It is true, I was intent on feeding upon someone this evening, my beloved, but despite my words, there was no malice in my actions. I use that personality as a shield sometimes. I think a way to separate myself from what I'm doing, perhaps. But when I saw your startled face looking at me in the shadows, the shield shattered. And the monstrous act I had been about to perform became all too clear. I use that personality as a shield sometimes. I think a way to separate myself from what I am doing, perhaps. But when I saw your startled face looking at me in the shadows, the shield shattered, and the monstrous act I had been about to perform became all too clear. Which is why I must ask for your forgiveness, darling. Forgiveness not only for the act I was about to perform, but for the numerous terrible deeds I've performed over the centuries. Can I ever atone for what I've done in your eyes? I assure you it was not out of malice. It was not. It was... Oh, thank you, my darling. Your kindness once again is a shining star in the sea of deep, dark blackness. With your permission, could I hold you? I know it is so much to ask, especially given the danger I just posed to you, but thank you very much, beloved. Out of all my years in this life, this simple act is the kindest I have ever received. I knew in my heart you would forgive me, but there was still that slightest doubt, that fear that you would not. I am thankful to see it was not founded. It is good to know that for the first time in a very long while, that there is someone I can call friend. Thank you, beloved. This was exactly what I needed. Now, though, there is a matter I must tend to, an important one. As you know, as you are well aware, I hunger for blood. It is a craving that gnaws not only at my body, but at my very soul. I have fed upon thousands over the centuries, but unless I find myself particularly starved, it does not necessarily mean the death of who I am feeding upon. I think you know where I am going with this. Will you be willing to let me feed upon you, darling? Willing to let me state my hunger by letting my fang meet flesh? As far as I know, it does not hurt. At least not much. In fact, from what I can tell, many of my victims find it quite pleasant. So really you might enjoy the experience. You will? Oh, thank you, darling. I never should have adopted your generosity. I do not know what the future holds beyond this moment, my darling, but I know that is better than the past I left behind. Now come here, my sweet princess. Let me feast upon you.